In the first days, in the very first days, in the first nights, in the very first nights, in the first years, in the very first years, in the first days when everything needed was brought into being, in the first days when everything needed was properly nourished, there was a valley of apples and fields. In this valley in 1939, Bill Hewitt and Dave Packard entered a garage. And in this garage, they started a company that made electronics. Things were built. Good things, many things. Signal generators were made, oscilloscopes, voltmeters, frequency counters, wave analyzers. And abundance overflowed in the land. In the first days when everything needed was brought into being in a valley to the south, among apple orchards and fields, Dr. Robert Noyce of Fairchild Semiconductor invented the first commercially produced integrated electronic circuit inside a small silicon chip. And a light came on that never went out again, that shines in the valley to this day. And the Fair children of Fairchild Semiconductor, as they were called, like the PayPal mafia of today, went off to found new things. Pierre Lamond went to National Semiconductor. Noyce left and joined with Gordon Moore to found Intel. Eugene Kleiner left to found Kleiner Perkins, the first technology-based venture capital fund. And lo, venture capital was a force like no other. It flowed like a river through the valley of the land, and everything needed was nourished. Milk and bread and honey. Bread was shared in the valley where Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in 1975 presented the Apple I to their peers at the Homebrew Computer Club. He set sail, Jobs set sail, but he set sail in a pirate ship. It's better to be a pirate than join the Navy, he said to his underlings. A pirate flag was hoisted atop Bandley 3 at the Apple campus in Cupertino. The Macintosh was born, and Steve Jobs set sail for the underworld. Small windstones were tossed up against him. Large hailstones were hurled up against him. Like onrushing turtles came men, mostly men, a few women. They came from the north, they were strong, they were fierce. Yet the name of their firm was the least manly of names. Its name was Microsoft. They charged the keel of the pirate boat. The waters of the sea devoured the bow of his boat like wolves. The waters of the sea struck the stern of his boats like lions. MS-DOS was discarded in favor of Windows, and a clash of operating systems began. At that time, a tree, a single tree, a halupu tree, was planted by the banks of the river by ARPANET and TCP/IP. It was the Intranet. The tree was nurtured by the waters of the venture capital, fed by the peels of the apples, and lit by the light streaming through the windows. Gophers rooted for food at its roots. Archie and Veronica picnicked in its shade. The whirling south wind arose, a Bengali typhoon, pulling at its roots and ripping at its branches. Then came a time of confusion when the path went awry, and vermal, cyborgs, and head-mounted displays were thought to be the future. The outfits of that era were embarrassing. But then a great clarifying event took place. An IPO appeared on the horizon. An IPO appeared upon the land. Its name was Netscape, and Mark Andreessen, 20-something, ambitious and tall, became a gazillionaire. Following the IPO, people appeared in the valley. 20-something, tall or not over the hill, came a legion of programmers, user experience designers, information architects, JavaScripters, Perl hackers, and persons speaking the ancient tongues of ASP and Cold Fusion. They came seeking their fortunes, their own chances to become gazillionaires. Their portraits gazed from the covers of magazines. Wall Street became interested. And the dot-com era began. eBay and Yahoo.com, Pets.com and Boo.com. Webvan.com and Cosmo.com. PotatoPeeler.com put its roots in the river of venture capital and the river of hype, and the rivers nourished them. But a woman was there, Inanna, who plucked the tree from the river of venture capital and the slavering hordes of product managers and user experience designers, and she spoke. I shall plant this tree in my garden. Inanna cared for the tree with her hand. She settled the earth around the tree with her foot. The years passed. 5 years passed. The tree grew thick, but its bark did not split. Google.com opened its campus in Mountain View and vowed to do no evil. But a serpent who could not be charmed made its nest in the roots of the halupu tree. But Inanna knew that the tree of life that had sprung on the banks of the river was a means of communication, that through its network of branches, the people could become more generous and more wise, more civil and more human, and not less than what they were. How shall it be, Inanna cried, that data shall become information? How shall it be, Inanna cried, that information shall become knowledge? How shall it be, Inanna cried, that knowledge shall become wisdom? But more was yet to come, for Blogger had been invented in a room in South Park, and Friendster was becoming huge in the Philippines. As the birds began to sing at the coming of the second dawn, Web 2.0 was born. Social networking appeared upon the land. Delicious and Flickr and Wikipedia, participatory media and user-generated content, tagging and folksonomies, open APIs. Many were the wonders of the time. And there was a flood of data and metadata. What people were thinking at any hour of the day and night, what they ate and where they went. Things were favorited, liked, and disliked. GPS locations were recorded. And there was another flood, a flood of sociality. Connections were made, Facebook was born, LinkedIn arrived, status updates were updated. But the Anzu bird set his young in the branches of the tree and named them trolling. And the maid Lilith built her home in the trunk and changed her name to Spam. There were other dark creatures that made nests in their tree, such as obscene content and privacy violations. And Inanna wept. How I wept, said Inanna, and yet they would not leave my tree. The gods from prior ages had counseled their followers to stay hungry and stay foolish, but those were heathen gods without understanding. They were hardware gods. They connected dots. For any Buddhist and vegetarian, whether sporting a black mock turtleneck or not, knows that hunger was never slaked in the realm of hungry ghosts. The craving never ends, even for shiny consumer devices. And the internet had succumbed to a plague of fantasies, and the most devout suffered from FOMO, the fear of missing out. Tweet by ever-loving tweet. Inanna, who was herself a software god, counseled otherwise. Be satisfied, be happy, and be wise were her admonitions. Turn data into information. Turn information into knowledge. Turn knowledge into wisdom. So now is the time of heroes, the Gilgameshes of our age. The researchers and pundits and user experience designers and product managers and programmers and public relation professionals must heft their swords. You, the masters and doctors of information, must slay the serpents. For this is a mythical age, not unlike the age portrayed in ancient Sumerian myths, repurposed though they may be for sacred texts, poetry, and commencement addresses. We must bring generosity and civility back to the internet. We must nourish the roots of the tree with the food venture capital cannot provide. From the trunk of the tree, we will carve a throne of wonder. From the trunk of the tree, we will carve a bed for humanity. From the branches of the tree, we will fashion a crown of wisdom. Thank you.